Good morning and welcome to the Life Grip podcast. My name's Adam Phillips. I'm the founder of Life Grip, improve mental health and prevent disease through nutrition, meditation and active lifestyles. And everyone that I have on this podcast is in some way in line with that mission statement. And we want to give you people, like the listeners and the viewers, something to implement in your life straight away. And I believe if we can all step inside of our fears and get on the other side of them, our whole world and our opportunities open up for us. So this morning I've got Jul Grant here. She's the founder of Mandala Dream Co. It's an amazing company. She's got an amazing story and we want to share that with you today. Welcome, Jules.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Jules. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. So in order for you to get to where you are today, right, I believe that everyone's got an amazing story. It's not just left up to celebrities and actors and that sort of thing. Everyone's been through something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually where you are today, the person you are today, the outlook and your perception of the world is obviously what you've been through. So tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today and why.
Okay. Well, I was in media and marketing for 28 years in the corporate world. I was really more of a frustrated creative. We do within advertising agencies, we'd always be stuck doing those brain mapping experiments and things like that. And all the media people would be on one side of the room and all the creative people would be on the other. And then there was me always on the wrong side of the room. I was always a square peg in the round hole. But, you do what you can. And I certainly enjoyed it. There was lots of perks and a little bit of glamour, and I met some amazing people. But it sort of went against the very fibre of my being, truthfully. But nonetheless, it was an experience that got me to where I am today. I left media back in 2007 after our last child was born, and sort of just did consultancy for a period. But then at 45 had a massive widowmaker heart attack, which was obviously very unexpected at 45. Fast forward a couple of months, we started sort of finding out how it happened, why it happened, and that's when all the change started taking place. 3 months after the heart attack, we had a massive car accident, broke all my ribs and cracked my sternum, ended up with PTSD. It was just, what going on? It was crazy. But I eventually connected with a yoga teacher and mentor who became very important in my life. And she sort of set me on a path for recovery. The heart attack was caused by a root canal that I had done in my 20s. And it had 12, from memory, we had DNA tests done after we had the tooth out. It had 12 dangerous bacteria underneath the tooth. And of course you don't know because there's no pain because the tooth is dead. And 2 of which had attacked my heart muscle specifically. So it was a root canal that caused the heart attack, which is just bizarre.
That is bizarre. Well,
yeah.
I've never heard of anything like that.
It's a very common dental procedure. But the truth is, after you do the research and do the learnings, you just can't keep a dead tooth in a healthy body. So root canals are a big no-no. Anyone thinking about getting one, don't do it. Get the tooth pulled. That's the only option. You cannot keep a foreign body in your body in a healthy way. It shouldn't happen. So there is a dentist by the name of Dr. Weston Price who did a lot of research back in the 40s and 50s, I believe, about this. The doctor that I saw actually had a number of terminally ill patients. And the one thing they all had in common, for example, I think he had 9 women with breast cancer that he was treating. They all had a root canal on the same side as the breast cancer.
Wow.
It's just not, yeah. So I underwent major dental surgery and he put me on a detox, which a clean keto, for want of a better word. And keto was fabulous. Like I dropped 24 kilos in about 3 or 4 months. Like it just fell off. The problem with keto is it's not very sustainable. After maybe 2 years, I just could not cope with children, family, businesses, and everything, and then continue cooking everything from scratch and cooking everyone a different meal every night. So I fell off the wagon. I've put 8 kilos of that back on, which I need to move.
Yeah.
But from a health point of view, I went from 25% irreparable heart damage to 12 months later, 2% off normal, don't ever come back. Can't explain it. I could explain it, but they couldn't explain it. So
yeah, you could explain it, but they couldn't. I'm like, there was nothing in the literature, there was no text. I'm like, when they open up their textbooks or whatever. Mate, that's amazing. Like normally, heart attacks, we'd look at margarine, we'd look at popcorn chicken, as sort of culprits, not a root canal.
Yeah, a root canal. Yeah. And it had been causing me problems for years and years, and no one ever put 2 and 2 together. I had been diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia when I was 25, which then turned out to be not leukemia and nothing. And looking back now, it would have all been playing havoc with my white blood cell counts, even back when I was 25. And then it was 45 before I had the heart attack. So I'm 52 now, so I sort of beaten the odds, which is great.
What do you, is there something you put it down to, like before, like with the root canal, and being diagnosed and that sort of thing, like earlier, what's the difference between then and now? Clean
everything.
Yeah.
Just over a period of the last 6 years, just started cleaning up one part of my life after another. So I left marketing altogether. I wasn't doing consultancy anymore. I worked with my husband for a period of time. He's a mechanic, a local mechanic here. So I worked with him for a bit and grew up his business. Really concentrated on the family, but more importantly, really concentrated on my health. So yoga, meditation, eating clean, no low fat, no sugars, no flours, no pastas, no rice. Really even cut down on my fruit initially, because keto, being the beast that it is, really is very limiting. Became an expert at cooking keto meals and learning all the alternatives, which was great. But I think for me, it was more than that. It was also cleaning up my environment. So we stopped using any sort of pesticides or chemical cleaners in the house. We got rid of all the carpets in the house. And that's sort of when I started doing things more organically. So we use citric oil for cleaning. We started making our own toothpaste, now called Toothy Paste, with coconut oil and diatomaceous earth and turmeric and oregano and all these fabulous ingredients. And then my business sort of started moving from there to what it is today. So I think everything's about intention. So if you come at the world with good intention and honest intention, then things really start to balance for you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a massive difference there to building a business and a company with the right intention.
Yeah.
And when you've got a story such as yours, like it's not for profit. It's a business, but I mean, that is not the sole purpose. You've already done that in the marketing side, right? In the corporate world where you were before. So that, and it's much, much different now.
Yeah.
And your lifestyle from what you were before to now, and like we've discussed about your root canal, and being diagnosed at 25 as well earlier, is that it's not just one thing, is it? Like you've gone and changed different aspects of your life, your nutrition, you started yoga, some meditation, you changed the environment that you're working in.
Yeah.
and then you change your environment at home. So
Yeah.
it's like your lifestyle is not just like a clean diet, an active lifestyle, and doing some yoga meditation. It also includes
Yeah.
your environment.
Yeah.
And if people were just to walk over after listening to this and open up the cupboard under their sink, or open up the drawers in their bathroom, and start to have a look at these labels and like, man, I'm putting this on my skin.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
would you go and spray, I don't know, WD-40 on your arm or anything like that? Like
Oh no.
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't rub
Yeah.
this sort of stuff into your body.
Mm.
So why are we
Mm.
using products that are going onto our skin and eventually into our bloodstream?
Absolutely. And your skin is your largest organ. There's no two ways about it. And not only is it a protection from the environment, it also absorbs the environment. What you wear, what you eat, what you sleep in, the air you breathe, what you surround yourself with, even right down to, wearing polyesters and nylons versus natural fabrics. And then you start looking at those, and then you start thinking about landfill and waste and need versus want. And it's just this lifestyle that just is like, it it just starts to evolve, and before you know it, I don't throw anything. If something can be reused or upcycled or recycled, it doesn't leave the house. So you just really care for what you have and work on what you have, and try to keep it green, because the more we do as a collective, the biggest change we're going to make. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Like even in my household, sometimes I'll look at the waste that I create and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, but I'm like, this is how you live. You're buying stuff that comes in plastic wrappers and packets and that sort of thing, and you're eventually throwing out 4 to 5 bags of rubbish a week or something, in the bin, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. And the
But
industry I'm in now is different, in as much as the people who are real will really flock around you and become a very constant and supporting tribe. But there's also part of the eco and ethical strand, which is, for them, sustainability is a marketing strategy. So you have to be very careful to guard yourself against those businesses. Yeah.
Yeah. Why are they in it?
Yeah. They're in it for the money.
Yeah. So
it's a marketing strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. There's much more. I suppose you don't realize it maybe when like you're chasing the money beforehand, but you soon realize that it's there's much more than than money. And like,
that's right.
You can build a business, you can build a company that's having a positive impact in all areas. You know what
absolutely.
I mean? I love what you said about your skin absorbs your environment. That just says it all. Like, you don't need to go, oh yeah, this product is going to absorb in your skin, this product is going to do this. That's it. It just sums it up.
Everything. Yeah.
Skin absorbs your environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why do you think people are just using products and stuff and putting it on their skin now? Is it just because what's more commonly available and
absolutely. It's a trust level. If you go into a supermarket and you see a deodorant on the shelf, it must be safe. That's what we're led to believe. If it's in the supermarket, it's been tested. It's gone through the necessary departments. But, there's certain things that the labelling in Australia is atrocious. And there's certain things that shouldn't be in our products that are on a regular basis under a different name. So they also don't have to label every single ingredient in their formulation. Yeah, right. So, and it's the same, you go to a Coles or Woolworths and buy their fruit and veg. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
I would not touch it.
Okay.
So, because you don't know where it came from, and you don't know how it was grown, and you don't know what was sprayed on it. You don't know what sort of soil it was grown in. You don't know anything. And it's very hard to live without supermarkets and without fast food and without, pharmaceuticals. But bit by bit, you can sort of apply, and that's sort of my mantra, once you know better, you do better. You can apply those things to your life, and you can learn a little bit more. And I've learned so much in the last few years, and always learning new things. So
Yeah, what's a
Our
simple step for people to
life
implement?
just keeps evolving, and I think ultimately, big pardon,
Sorry,
what was
go
that?
on. It just broke up. You're
Yeah, we just had a breakup because I'm in Cobble Creek, so the internet's not great out here.
right. Yeah, so because things can be overwhelming, as you said, like we've got,
Yeah,
like it's easy to go, down the supermarket and grab your stuff. It's easy to go and grab this type of skincare or whatever else,
yeah, yeah,
because it's just there and it's cheap, right?
yeah, yeah.
So what's the easiest and simplest solution? What's the first point of call that people can just implement right away that will start to make that change? What have you found is the easiest thing?
For me, the easiest was probably changing my household environment. So you
Yeah.
start small and then work your way out.
Mm,
And obviously, for me, with nutrition, it was a matter of life and death. So
mm,
I had to figure out a new way, and I was just very blessed that the right people came into my life at the right time and taught me better.
mm.
So, I continue to learn. I'm now working on the very low waste side of things. I've always had a very low waste business. We use our fabric remnants for labels, business cards back in the day as well were made of fabric. Um, we don't waste any of our plant dyes either, but I wasn't applying it to our household. So now I've started implementing that a bit more. So very aware of the waste
Mm,
that we're creating in our footprint on the earth.
mm.
I know recently the more information's come out about the climate change and what's going on in the world. If we don't make some changes, we're not going to be here for much longer. There's not going to be another generation.
Yeah.
So I think it's important not to rely on the governments to sort of do the right thing because they're only interested in their term, but worry about the longevity of the species and the planet, because the planet gives us everything we need. We just need to harness it in the right way.
It does. It gives us
Yeah,
every single thing that
everything.
we need.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we just keep shitting on it. Keep filling up landfill with plastics and petrochemicals, and
Yeah.
it's just, it's too big for one person, but there's a movement happening and people are waking up and people are changing and new
Mm.
businesses are coming online with fabulous ideas. So this is my little bit, but there's so much more everyone can do. So I'm just sort of throwing my hat in the ring.
Mm. Yeah, I think people are. I'm like they're just more aware of it, even if
Yeah.
they haven't changed yet. They're like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose it's like me, like I'm aware of the waste that I'm creating, right? And I
Yeah.
try and cut it down, where I can. And there's going to be a time where, like, I know there'll be a tipping point where I'll just, um, you know, just stop creating any sort of waste. The other
Yeah.
day I
Yeah.
bought a coconut bowl, just a bowl
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah. Yeah.
half a coconut shell. But that's
They're
the other
gorgeous.
thing is, why do you need a fancy bowl in the house? Like,
That's right.
it's just a bowl. Like,
That's
why?
right.
Why do we
It's
need
just
all this
stuff.
stuff? Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need all the stuff, and
No.
it feels so good to to not only clean up your lifestyle, like
Yeah.
your nutrition, your active lifestyle, meditation and yoga, your environment. But
Mm.
then when you're also cleaning up your environment, just keep it minimal and just unclutter. Like the perfect analogy is like just uncluttering your life is almost like when you're coming home to a dirty kitchen every day, it doesn't
Oh, yeah.
feel good. And then you
No.
clean the kitchen up and you're like, I just
Yeah.
feel better.
Yeah.
It's just uncluttered.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, it goes with every aspect of your life. The meditation
Mm,
declutters your mind so you
mm,
can see things very clearly and you know where you're going and what your path is.
mm,
I think it's very difficult in everyday life. People who are working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 every day, just getting to and from work and looking after kids and looking after the family and being wives and husbands and sisters and brothers and cousins, and it's hard work. Life is tough for a lot of people, and we're very privileged where we are, exceptionally privileged.
mm.
um, I'm a very empathetic person. I'm one of those people that cry in TV commercials and can't watch the news because she cries, and it is very much a lonely business when you look at what's happening in the world and it's, what can I do? Well, you can just do you. That's all you can do. And you can strive to do better and strive to make a difference in the world in your own way, whether it's small or big. We're not all Bill Gates. We can't all, change the world with our money, but it's like, a little ripple will create a wave. So the more people that get on board and start making positive changes, the better the world will be for everyone long term.
Yeah, well, I mean, a simple example is me meeting you. Like,
Yeah,
I've already started.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I've got some cleaner products. I've got some cleaner, some cleaner toothpaste. I grew up using Colgate because
yeah,
that's just what you do. Like, this is
yeah.
how this is.
That's what you're given.
Yeah, it's what's in front of you,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
just keep using it, and you don't think anything otherwise.
No, you
You know.
don't.
So yes, so now I'm using hemp-based toothpaste, from Mandala.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell me about hemp, right? People have seen, I'm guessing a lot of, videos across Facebook, mainly in terms of sort of like your cannabis oil and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But what is so good about hemp?
There's not much hemp can't do for the world,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And coming from a background, I was born in the 60s. So I grew up wearing nylon and polyester and crimpolene and all these fabulous things. My mother was a seamstress. So, she used to dress me and my sister in matching purple crimpolene back in the 60s. So, when I realised how toxic fabrics were, the nylons and the polyesters and the tencels and all different sorts of things. And when you see what's happened here in Australia with the cotton farmers and the Murray-Darling Basin, stealing, what do they call it? Not megalitres, some millions and millions of megalitres of water from other farmers downstream. Cotton uses 23% of the pesticides worldwide.
Oh,
Hemp
really?
doesn't use any pesticide. You don't need any fertilizers. It grows
Nothing at all.
nothing at all.
It
It
doesn't.
puts
It doesn't
back
get
in,
affected.
it doesn't get affected. It's a weed. It's literally a weed,
Oh,
and weeds are
right.
just misunderstood flowers, of course.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of weeds in the world that you can, we could go out and we've got 5 acres here. We could go out here now and find hundreds of species of weeds that are edible, medical, good for you. You could sustain yourself off what I've got on my 5 acres of weeds because we
Really?
don't spray. Yeah. And there's people who specialize in identifying what you can and can't eat, and what medicinal values they have. And there's a lot of weeds in the world that have medicinal values. Hemp is one of them, as is cannabis. Same species.
Okay, but it's different, is it?
It's different. Hemp
Right.
doesn't have the THC, so
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
have the
Yeah.
psychoactive component. It's less than -3%. But it grows prolifically and it needs no help. It assists the soil. It breaks up nitrogen, breaks up all the erosion, and it fixes all the soils up. They planted it in Chernobyl to deal with the nuclear fallout. They
Really?
planted at mine sites. It cleans up the soil. It starts everything afresh. It's a fabulous companion plant. It uses less than a quarter of the water of cotton. You get twice as much yield per acre as you do per cotton. Same with paper. You can do hemp, paper, textiles, oils, seeds. It's food, it's fuel, it's everything. So for me, once I learned about hemp, I couldn't walk away. So
Yeah.
I was doing eco textile art, and I was using organic cottons and linens and silk blends. And then I started working with hemp, and everything else left, like overnight. Started working with hemp and got rid of every other textile I was working with, because hemp can literally save the planet. And that's not just my mind, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just made sense. Yeah.
Mm. Absolutely.
So it will actually like repair the soil for the next crop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct?
For a small hobby farm, it would make perfect sense to plant as a rotational crop. Perfect for Australian climate with our drought conditions, because it requires very little. You know, it's just, and every single part of the plant can be used for something, whether it's the seeds that you can use for food and proteins, whether it's the stalks, which they use for textiles and bedding, even the leftovers, the byproducts. So from making textiles, you have what's left called a hemp hurd. They can use that for stables and cattle, and it's antibacterial, it's anti-mold, it's anti-mildew, it's anti-odor, it's anti-allergy. It's everything about it is just environmentally friendly and better for the planet. So for us not to be using hemp in every part of our lives is ridiculous.
So what happened? Did we
America
not
happened.
know? Yeah, but
America happened.
Did we not know the benefits of it back then? Like back years and years ago? Like to the extent of what we do now? Do we only know what we know now because of what we've been through with cotton and everything else?
They did know, and yeah, some very influential and even presidents of the US had hemp farms back in the day. But when the cannabis and marijuana prohibition started, they put the two species together and nobody could grow anything. So, but we all know how that's going. Now, cannabis is legalized in the US. And of course, you know, there's all the health benefits from the plants as well. Whether it's hemp CBD or cannabis CBD, it's CBD. So we use CBD in our skincare products. I use CBD personally every day for my PTSD, because it creates a homeostasis. So I haven't had a panic attack since I started on CBD. Not one.
I want to touch on that for a bit because, like, we've grown up thinking that drugs are bad, right?
Yeah.
I get it. I understand that. That statement, but I mean,
but pharmaceuticals are good. Apparently, that's how we grew up. But pharmaceuticals are good.
Yeah,
that's how we grow up. Yeah,
exactly. And so, if you're sort of, in a sense, micro dosing, right, on a daily basis, that's essentially what you're doing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, especially this drug, right? We're just not taught how to use it.
That's right.
Rather than just saying it's bad, and we can go into, you know, a multitude of reasons of why it's illegal. But I mean, rather than saying it's bad, we're just not taught how to use it.
That's right. Yeah. And there's different, you know, you can't smoke my hemp sheets. You can't smoke any of my hemp toothpaste.
Yeah.
And remembering it is hemp, it's not cannabis as such. CBD, there are multiple sorts of CBD. So you can get a hemp CBD, which again contains no psychoactive ingredients. You can get a cannabis CBD or a marijuana CBD. And again, you can get that without any THC, any of the psychoactive, or you can get it with a psychoactive. You have a choice. It's not, so people who are in the States, for example, who are fighting cancers, they will use something with a THC base for the pain.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and the anti-nausea effects. If they're undergoing chemotherapy and radiation, they use a THC-based CBD, or you can just have a CBD, which is CBD dominant. You don't have to have the wacky tobacco as such.
The wacky tobacco. So this is amazing. You're treating, so besides all the other stuff you've done with your lifestyle, it's obviously, you know, a complete 180 to what you were before. But like, you're saying you're treating your PTSD with cannabis.
Yeah, CBD oil, absolutely, every day. 4 drops every morning. Yeah. And I mean, in the States, it's huge. One day it will hit Australia. That's not to say you can't get it in Australia. You most certainly can. And it's as long as there's no THC in it, it's perfectly legal. But in the States, the market is huge. The veterans, ex-veterans are using it for their PTSD.
Right.
People are using it for cancers, weight loss, anxiety, sex drive, you name it. America has got something for it.
That's
So,
like, yeah, PTSD, depression, anxiety, mental health issues are just, on the rise. And it's like, it's hard to believe with the way that we've grown up and the way that we've been educated that a drug, right, an illegal drug is what can help and manage things like PTSD.
Yeah, naturally. Without side effects.
Sustainably.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that this stuff is there, people like you and, other veteran, like that's a huge one right there, ex-vets, like look
and
after
I mean,
them.
To think that I started with, hemp fabric to make bed linen, and now I'm an advocate for cannabis. I would never have expected to be where I am. I would never have been expected that I'd be talking about such a subject, because it was such a taboo growing up. But it's the facts. It's the facts.
Yeah. So what are you doing outside of Mandala in regards to the cannabis space? Like, are you speaking to anyone? Obviously really passionate about it and for obvious reasons. It's not only cleaning up your life, but it's also helping you. Well, it's not helping. It is managing PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely. It's managing it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what else are you doing outside of Mandala?
Sitting on the sidelines waiting for legislation to change here in Australia. Ultimately, I want to have my own CBD brand, and I think I'll be in a position of authority to do so. There's quite a big movement here in Australia, and it's not all Nimbin based, as most people would like to think.
How far away are we from getting something like this approved?
I'd say 3 years.
3 years. What's the organisation or body that's helping this to get passed at the moment? Is there anyone in Australia?
Yeah, there's a lot of people involved. Obviously, there's people with big money in New Zealand as well who are very interested and invested to get it legalised here. Whether or not they're in it for the right reasons, I really don't know. There are a few. I mean, Queensland had their first cannabis clinic open here just a few weeks ago. I believe it's very expensive, and a lot of that's to do with government paperwork and bureaucracy. But if people need it, they can find it in Australia. Absolutely,
they can
find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So much paperwork. It's expensive, and it just comes out of the ground. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's something right there that's helping, and we're not using it,
Yeah, well, I don't know whether you've heard of the Dan Haslam story.
No.
So he was the young man from New South Wales who was diagnosed with bowel cancer in his 20s. His father is was an ex-drug cop, and his mother was very anti-cannabis. When he was going through chemotherapy and it wasn't going very well, they put him onto CBD. They now own MMJ Phytotech, which is, I believe, a part Canadian-owned business, and have the very first medical marijuana farm in New South Wales. So,
really?
Yeah. We bought shares in the farm for no other reason than emotion and support, because what that family has gone through and the advocacy that they've done, they deserve all the support they can get. So even my little few shares, hopefully it helped. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, as long as you can do your part. So yeah, that's amazing that a police officer has gone to that extent, and like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Why
It's a
not
look.
try it?
It's a sad world when there are parents being locked up for giving their epileptic children CBD.
Is there
Um,
really?
oh yeah, 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 lots, lots. I hear about them. People are still being locked up for treating their children with epilepsy. Pharmaceuticals can't help them. CBD treats it. There are cases where kids have gone from 300 seizures a day to none on CBD. So there's a reason that it hasn't been accepted quicker, and
Yeah.
it's all government, obviously. But you know, we all know that we're like a poor second cousin to America, so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I believe it is
Yeah.
just a matter of time. Um,
So until then,
right.
I'm stuck with my. Keep doing my hemp bed linen, and my skincare. But eventually, the plan is definitely, if I can make a difference to people's lives with CBD, I'll be on board, 100%.
Oh, definitely. And
Yeah,
you're obviously already building up the trust in the marketplace with what you're already doing, your current products, the way you go about things, the story behind Mandala Dream Co. It's not just yeah,
yeah, it's real.
as as we've just
Yeah,
heard, like what
yeah,
an amazing story to go from what you've been through and then to build a business out of that stuff that happened. And
yeah,
you're actually not only cleaned up your lifestyle, you've done a complete 180, you're continuing to basically treat yourself and
yeah,
manage your
yeah.
PTSD through
It's really
cannabis.
satisfying. It's a bit of a bit of a local joke where we are, because I'm, you know, the hemp press. People call me from Cobble Creek. But the people who know me and are close to the family think it's hilarious because my husband's Jamaican. So one would have thought if anybody was into hemp, it would have been my husband, but no, it was me. So that's a funny thing.
Crack up. All right, so tell us
Yeah.
about your product line. Like, what are the products you've got? Like, I've currently got the toothpaste, the bath salts, and I've got the
Mm.
Dream Mist that I
Yeah,
use
yeah,
on a regular basis. So
yeah.
yeah, what else do you have?
Okay, well, with the skincare, we've got a face serum, body butter, the bath salts. We've got the Dream Mist. We've also got Herb Buttery Balm, which is a CBD-based balm for pain and sprains and bruises and cuts. It's something you want to take on your camping trips. Um, we've also got fragrances. We've just got two new serums on the product line, which one is for under eye care and the other is for acne. Again, they're in the Conscious Botanical Devotion range that we've got happening. And of course, we've got the bed linen and ethical fashion. So the bed linen for me is my first love, absolutely. And I do eco textile art. So we grow our own indigo on the property.
Oh, wow.
Um, I dye with onion skins and pomegranate rinds and sunflower seed hulls and whatever else I can find on the property. So it's a really slow process. It takes me 6 months to ferment indigo leaves to be used for dyeing. So everything's done very slowly.
So this is all handcrafted.
Everything's handmade, yeah, from scratch.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. So when people are buying your products, they know that it's it is legit.
yeah,
There's not
yeah.
like, you know, 40% hemp or whatever and 10% this or
No,
yeah, it's
no, no, I don't have them made offshore. They're all made here. I've got a girlfriend who's a seamstress who lives in Lacey's Creek,
yeah.
about 20 minutes that way. She does most of my sewing nowadays because I'm busy doing other things. But I've got a 120-litre jacketed cooker, which my mechanical husband changed to a vat for me, so I can dye like 4 kilograms worth of hemp at any given time. Um, I love it. It's beautiful, and it's a very beautiful, messy process. It's smelly and it's messy, and I'm often covered in blue and orange and all different colours, but I love it, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's so beautiful to sleep in and wear, and
Mm.
everything about hemp. It's everything for me. Yeah,
Yeah, well, hemp clothing has recently hit the headlines, hasn't it? There
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. absolutely.
But it's something you've been doing for some time now.
Yeah. Well, it's allergy friendly, of course, which is great, and it's hard wearing. It's 8 to 10 times more durable than cotton. So it's that sort of thing that you will have for a lifetime. It's, the bed linen is heirloom stuff. It's the stuff that your kids want to take to university with them. It'll last a lifetime. When I sell the bed linen, I tell people it's one set for life. That's all you need. I don't expect to see you back here again. Return customers are lovely for the skincare, but with the hemp bed linen, I expect someone to buy one set, and that's all they'll ever need. So, my husband's a mechanic, so I always had one side of the bed was the dark side, and I'm not being racist because he's Jamaican, but I always had the dark side of the sheet. I always knew which side of the sheet was his. But with hemp, it just washes out everything. It's stain resistant. Yeah, it's stain resistant and odor resistant, and it's just the most beautiful fabric.
Well, even if he's like left some grease somewhere.
Yeah. It loses a microscopic layer of wax every time you wash it. So that's why we call hemp a wear-in fabric, because it starts off like a sort of a stiff type linen, and then it starts to lose a little bit of wax every time you use it. So it stays fresher for longer. So you only have to wash every 2 weeks, not every week. It doesn't collect odors. The stains wash right off with the wax. So it's just a beautiful, sustainable fabric that I can't believe I haven't been wearing since the 60s.
Yeah. It sounds like a no-brainer for me. To get it. It's that's a pretty good guarantee for if you're telling people, well, you're only going to purchase this once. Yeah,
just once. Just once. That's all you ever need. And it's the same with the clothing. It just lasts and lasts and lasts forever. I've got we do some hemp wrap pants. They're not like hippie wrap pants. They're proper hemp wrap pants. And when we dye them with indigo actually gives it another level of benefits. So back in the day, the samurais used to wear indigo dyed clothing underneath their armor, because indigo actually helps you heal. It stops infections coming in your skin. So that's why the samurais were always connected with the indigo. So, and that's why it's such a big thing in Japan.
That's amazing.
So, everything that we do has a health benefit as well as an environmental benefit. So, and I'm a bit of a stickler for that, So I've had chats with suppliers recently about sending me oils and things that I buy in styrofoam and bubble wrap and things. And I've said, look, I won't buy from you again if you don't change what it is you're doing, And I'm just such a small fish. I don't really have a huge amount of negotiation power.
Yeah, but you're sticking by it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm even, I've got our printers making me a little sticker so I can reuse the awful packaging that I'm sent. And I'm sending it off to customers saying, this packaging is an environmental disaster. So I'm reusing it. Don't let it end up in landfill. Here are some tips and hints that you can do with this packaging to reuse it so it doesn't end up in landfill. So every single thing we do, every day we find something new to add to the story that we can do to improve our footprint, So it's just never ending. It's ever surprising that I keep learning new things, and I think that's what keeps me going all the time.
Look, you're obviously true to your cause. It's amazing to meet other business owners that are focused on impact over profit. It's not just about the bottom line. And you obviously don't sacrifice quality in order to increase profit margin. Which is what a lot of other businesses and companies do. So that's where it's important to have that mission statement, your values, and just stay true to it, right? There's a reason why you started. Keep that there. Keep the essence of the company, why you started, and just move forward from there. What's your favorite quote or saying that you live by?
Live better, do better. Absolutely. Learn. You learn more and you do better with it, and as you evolve and you go through life and you learn little bits and pieces, it's just like when you're a kid and you're growing up and your parents are trying to lead you down the right path. Once you know better, you do better. And we've all got so much to learn. And I never thought I'd get to this age and be learning how to design websites. So forever learning, it's just one big experiment, really.
I've heard the word sustainable and sustainability come up a lot of a fair few times in this discussion. So it's like, have a look at your lifestyle, what you're doing. Not just to do with your nutrition, your meditation, active lifestyles, but also your environment. Like
it's
your
all
skin.
encompassing. Yeah.
And
once you've been bitten by the bug, you'll just keep finding new ways to bring it further into your life and your family's life and the next generation. Our child changed schools earlier this year. So he's gone from a state-based education to a Steiner-based education, which for me was like mind-blowing. And it's like I walked into a tribe of people who think exactly like I do on so many levels. And we're very, very blessed to be in a position where we can give our youngest an opportunity to have a different experience. But, they learn how to cultivate and grow their own vegetables, and, they learn how to knit and crochet before they learn how to write. They're learning about nature, and they're learning about the planet and evolution and how things really go together. And this next generation is very aware of the mistakes that our generation and previous generations have done before. So I'm really hopeful that there's going to be some big changes, and they're going to be positive ones. And it's going to be the next generation that sees us through.
Like how many children these days would look at strawberries and realize that they come off a plant, what I mean? Or look at another, at another piece of food and like, it just comes in a packet, we don't.
We need to go back to basics a lot in a lot of things in our life, and technology is fabulous, and it's brought us, into this current season. But
agree,
back to basics for a lot of things would really make a huge difference. We'll be growing our own fruit and veg.
We need to learn about the core stuff that matters first.
Absolutely.
First, before moving on to anything else. Whereas we're jumping the gun. You know what I mean? We're bypassing what really, like, we should all know how to grow our own food. I'm not saying everyone's going to do it, but we should.
Life's not supposed to be. Life's not supposed to be about convenience. And we all know that, once we're in the rat race and, you're earning to have a certain lifestyle, and there is never enough. But if you go back to basics, there is ample for everybody. And there need not be anybody going without if we could all just sustain.
Well, I don't want to sound corny, but, nature only takes what it needs. Whereas we sit down to, a massive plate of food, and it's like we just, not only are we overeating, but we're declining our health. It's like, and we're creating more waste, the more we eat, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the more production it's got to have, and everything else that, that goes along with that, and the impacts on the environment. But like, just a simple thing, like, you don't need to eat that much.
That's right. That's right. And it is very overwhelming, but we can all just make one small change every day and every week, and it'll just have a huge ripple effect.
Agreed.
So just start somewhere. Everyone needs to start somewhere.
And also ask yourself, where does this sort of stuff, like, where does your health, your lifestyle, like sustainability of the environment, where does these things sit on your priority of values? Like, is it number 1, 2, 3, 15 or 20? And you'll find that, the higher that goes up, your list of values and priorities, well, then the quicker you're going to make change.
That's
what I mean? But sometimes it takes something to happen to us in our life to make us realize, but you don't need to wait that long. Just here's the facts. here's what's
Absolutely.
going on. It's quite clear. It's a no-brainer to clean things up.
Yeah. I mean, I had a huge wake-up call, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing, because, you know, I would have stayed in a job that didn't satisfy me. I would have continued to work hours that just weren't good for me.
Sustainable.
The amount of stress that I was under was ridiculous. The lack of time I had for my family and my loved ones was unforgivable, really. So my life has done a full 360 in a good way, in a really good way. Yeah.
Yeah. Focus on the stuff that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And sometimes you don't realize what matters until you are in a tough situation.
Yeah, absolutely. When your life is, and it does, your life does flash before your eyes. Once that happens, you can't ignore it. You have to answer the calling, and you have to do what makes you happy and try to leave the world a better place. Yeah.
For sure. Look, amazing discussion. There's plenty of gold nuggets in here. Look, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media as Mandala Dream Co. On the internet, of course, www.mandaladreamco.com.au.
Yeah, and that's a brand new website, correct?
Yeah, brand new website. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Check it. I've seen it. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a labour of love. We continue to work on it, but people can call me, can email me. I'm always contactable. We're always linked somehow, aren't we? So yeah.
Yeah. You love to talk about it.
Yeah. I've met some wonderful people like you, and lots of people in this sphere that I'm working in. And whether that's green or eco or sustainable or ethical, everyone's got something to bring. And I've learned so much, and just want to keep learning. So yeah, I'm in for the run. It's going to be fun.
Thanks very much, Jules. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, mate.
See you.